Welcome back to Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. Join us as we venture year-round into the fog.
Make sure you give us a like and a follow on your podcast platform of choice. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube page where we upload every episode in its video format, and maybe a few other surprises as well.
Make sure you're following us on social media to keep up to date with our newest haunted content.
I'm Nick.
I'm Seamus.
I'm Jamie.
It feels like just yesterday we were talking about, is Terrifier going to come? Is it Scream this year? What speculation is happening? And lo and behold, we are back after already visiting Halloween Horror Nights. That's right. This is our opening weekend instant reaction. This is a very free-flowing episode. We don't re-rank stuff. We don't do all that nonsense until a little bit later down the road. And we don't really measure up our hype against reality just yet. But we are giving sort of our instant reactions to not only opening weekend, but we also did go to Premium Scream Night on that Thursday. So we do have essentially 4 days worth of stuff to talk about. And for full transparency, we're recording this on Tuesday. So all of these thoughts are from before the opening of the second week. So if you're listening on Friday, we probably have been in the fog since then, and maybe some thoughts have changed, but these are just off the rip of our opening day reactions. So we did it. We made it.
We're alive.
We're alive somehow. Well, before we do this, I might as well crack in. I got...
Oh, you found Pumpkinhead, you son of a bitch.
Fresh Pumpkinhead, too. It's not stuff
I was going to say, that's not one from last season, I bet.
No. This one is they are finally out and about at different Publix. And this one was actually at the one right next to us, so I didn't have to travel for it. So let me use my handy dandy skeleton claw bottle opener. And we can discuss this weekend properly. I don't have to give you the taste on it. This thing is, you know what it is.
You know how it be.
Oh, God. That is good. Ooh. Alrighty. I guess we should talk in order. So let's talk about Premium Scream Night first.
Oh, boy.
Just because it happened first.
It was a thing.
It was a thing. Obviously, from what you've seen, either from us or from others, I think the main consensus was that the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. The popularity of this event, whether that was from word of mouth from last year or they just pushed it extra hard this year, it definitely was felt. There was seemingly a lot of people there, a lot more than what I would deem exclusive or premium, or I forget the term they use it, but the way they word it was a lighter attended event, and it didn't necessarily feel that light, unfortunately. Wait times were kind of up and down. Obviously, when we first got in there and started doing some houses, they were a little bit on the lighter side. I think we benefited from the downpour of rain, because when it started to really come down, that was when we were already in that little, what I keep referring to as the cul-de-sac, which is the 4 houses in the sound stages, which if it is raining or you think it's going to rain or whatever, if you can make it over into that little area, you can loop around in a lot of houses and waiting areas while the rain comes down without being downpoured on. I think Terrifier is really the only one that has like the line that is outside, not covered by the side of the building, but WWE, Grave of Flesh,
Five Nights,
and what was it?
Five
Nights are all indoor queues. So if it seems like a downpour is going to happen for the night and you can make it there, that's my best suggestion, because we waited out the storm while waiting for houses. So that was that. So, Jamie, what were your initial thoughts on, I guess, just Premium Scream Night as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a good time. It definitely, I feel like, is maybe going to be a one-time thing for us. The lines were definitely a little bit longer than anticipated. I felt as if we were, well, like you said, the beginning it was kind of nice because we did get a couple houses done in a timely manner. But towards the end of the night, we were waiting almost 40 to 45 minutes for houses. And I'm like, this is just like a Wednesday or Thursday night on like a regular like day during the season, and we spent $350 up to almost $400 for something like this. And then it felt like it was kind of a battle between either you're going to wait in line for food or you're going to wait in line for houses if you want to get stuff done, because the food lines were ungodly long. Mind you, they did move kind of quick. The corn dog and cheese stick line was pretty wrapped around that area of New York, but it maybe took 15-20 minutes to get food. But even then, it's still like, another thing with the food too is I think we were under the impression that the mocktails were going to be included, and I feel like some of them weren't, but then some people were saying they were. Seamus, because when you got the Radaway, you said it wasn't, you paid for it, right?
I paid for the drink, yeah. But I think
So
that's
maybe because it was in the souvenir bag, but still $20 for an almost just a souvenir like mocktail.
well,
I don't know.
it was 22 for two of them.
For
or
two
it was
of
like
them. I'm
22
sorry.
or
I thought
23
you paid
because I bought Nick one too.
I thought you paid that for one
No,
of them.
no.
Okay, I
but,
was going to say, I was
I
like,
mean,
that's
regardless-
outrageous.
Regardless, we did have to pay for the souvenir drinks. I didn't think that was the case. Maybe I must have misread. I thought that the non-alcoholic drinks were included in the price.
Mhm.
But maybe because it was in the bag, it was like a souvenir drink rather than just a standard
Right.
non-alcoholic.
Mhm.
That could be why we charged for it. But I'm just going to parrot the two of you. I don't think there's really anything I can add other than the fact that I don't think we expected it to be as busy as it was. Maybe we should have, but the way they were talking is it sounded like, 7,000 people, not going to be a big deal, not that big of a deal. But it definitely felt busy. And I don't know if it's because they were pulsing the houses, but it didn't feel like they were pulsing all of them. There was only a couple of them that we had gone through that we truly got pulsed through. It was more of like hey, do you want to go with that group or do you want to wait? Like with Wyatt, like they were trying to like pulse it. They asked us,
They asked
do you
us
want
if we
to
wanted.
wait a few seconds for the pulse? But
Yeah.
you shouldn't really necessarily have to ask us that if what you're advertising this event to be as, a premium experience where you don't have to necessarily conga through the house. You get to pulse it. You get to do it in a way that allows you to see everything as it's meant to be seen. But then not be able to deliver that because of whether it was the number of people or just, you weren't prepared necessarily for that particular type of experience. I don't know. I think unfortunately we all kind of, I don't want to say the word duped isn't the right word, but like it was, I think based on what we heard from last year, I think we went into it with a certain expectation that we just didn't get. And then maybe we were never going to be able to get it because I think once the word of mouth got around that it was a pretty cool time,
Exactly.
everybody was going to buy tickets. It was going to sell out almost immediately and they
Mhm.
were going to oversell, and it was going to kind of ruin some of that experience because I think like Jamie said, it really didn't feel all that premium. It kind of just felt like a standard Wednesday or Sunday night. And, we just paid, extra $300 for that. So I would like to think that they'll do something about it, but at the same time, why would Universal skimp on, why would they like reduce the number of tickets sold if they know they're going to sell out?
If they
Unless
know-
they're worried that because
Exactly.
of the response that they got, people won't buy it. But
That's true.
then you kind of get stuck in one of those like rock and a hard place thing where it's like, shit, like if everybody's complaining about it, no one will go, then maybe next year won't be so bad. We can actually, it'll be
Mhm.
worth paying the money for. But then at the same time, maybe, we may not go, but then a whole bunch of other people are going to buy tickets and go. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they definitely overpromised and underdelivered a little bit, just because of the wait times and stuff like that we talked about. I'm trying to rack my brain on like ways to take this event and make it successful to the point of what was talked about. The only two solutions I really had in my mind was to reduce the attendance, which are they going to say no to, 2,000 people at $400 a pop?
Right.
Probably not.
Exactly.
So my other idea was, well, what if we can get 10,000 people in? Well, what if we split it into 2 nights? What if you do 2 nights at 5,000? So now I know running it for an additional night, but you're also getting 10,000 ticket sales while spreading it out and not making it feel too crowded. Because I'm curious what the number is or was. I don't think that will ever get released, but it didn't feel like, because even in my mind, when I'm like, oh, last year was, say, 3,500 and wait times were 0 to 10 minutes. Okay, well, then you double that to the 7,500 and we're looking at 10 to 25 minute wait times.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was a little more. So for me, that leads me down the rabbit hole of, well, maybe there was more than 7,500 tickets sold, because from what I had heard too, they were still offering tickets for sale at the ticket booths.
Which is crazy too, honestly.
They said
That's
it was
just
sold
annoying.
out. They stopped online sales.
Right.
And then we're still pumping some extra tickets out just in case. So, I don't know the validity of it, and I don't know the extent of how many were sold, but from what everybody said that went last year, I mean, we heard it in line. We just heard people talking, to each other, complaining about it, not talking to us, but I heard multiple people in lines just being, and there was always generally people that were there last year saying, the one I heard was, oh, well, it wasn't like this last year. We're not doing it again next year. This is a little crazy, yada, yada. Does my happiness to be in the fog blind my ability to critique this even harder? I think I'd be singing a much different tune if, say, I wasn't from here and I planned an opening weekend trip with this attached to it. Would I be much more furious? Maybe. I know people that don't get frequent fear passes that elected to just get the premium Scream night. Now, if they did that and they were like us, we didn't get to try all the food and we didn't even run all the houses.
Yeah.
Jamie did 7 houses. Me and Seamus did 8. By the time it was like 1:20, me and Seamus were just like, we're kind of done. We waited for like 40 minutes for Jason to end the night, and it sort of put a little damper on it. And we're like, I don't feel like waiting anymore. Like,
I was
the
gonna say,
idea was to not wait.
I left early because I was getting annoyed and irritated. Because it's just like when you're, and it's not even like I get stuff happens. And like you said, if they know they're going to make money off it, they're going to sell the tickets, and that's fine. But it's like, don't promise something and try to make it seem like it was going to be how last year was, when it was kind of like that test run when there only was so many less people. I feel like they just should have been more transparent maybe about how many tickets we're going to be selling, and it's going to be, they shouldn't have said exceedingly low wait times, but average to lower wait times.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah, because that
or included alcohol.
Yeah, it didn't, and that's the thing, it's in the name of it. It didn't feel premium.
Yeah. And I don't know how much I think the one thing you can blame Universal for is the number of tickets sold. I think that was the first mistake. Yeah. I don't think it's something they actively were like, attempting, like, let's sell as many tickets as possible, and if people have to wait in long lines, then oh well, it is what it is. We want people to have have an opportunity to come here. And I think for a lot of people, just the idea of being able to go before everyone else does is enough for someone to spend the money on going. I'm not saying that everybody's like that. We're obviously not like that. Like, we paid the $350 each or $400, whatever it was, solely because we thought that it was going to be more of like a traditional experience where you got to go through any house you wanted with minimal wait, and at the same time not have it feel like just a train of people walking through a maze with off time scares and that sort of thing. I think that there's not a whole lot they could do to control some of that. Like, unfortunately, it's just how it turned out with the number of people that were there. And maybe they didn't expect to sell out. Maybe they felt like, at the price point that they weren't gonna sell 7,500. But obviously they were wrong. They missed. They either underestimated how many people are gonna want to do it versus wait till opening weekend or opt for like express or whatever. But it almost to me feels like maybe I should have just opted for express. Paid a little bit more.
We could have had 2 months of express versus one night, which, in my head, maybe it was unrealistic, but I was like, oh, we should be able to get like at least one run in every house, multiples of some if we really want to. That was my expectation.
And I think
I definitely thought we were going to do
I
all
don't
the
think
houses.
that's a expectation that should be.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should look at that and go, well, that was unreasonable. I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
I think the way you advertise it as being a premium screen, like premium night, where you'll be able to get through more houses than you typically can on a normal night, and experience the food, which was included. I mean, of all the complaints that we have,
We got
we
to try
can't
a good amount of
complain. I mean,
food.
the fact that
Yeah.
you literally got whatever you wanted food wise for free.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the lines were almost as long as the house lines to get food.
Right.
Now, granted, I give a lot of credit to the food staff because they were pumping it out. I mean, they were doing
Yeah.
everything they could make sure those lines were moving.
They were.
So you got to give them credit for that. But it's almost like you feel for them a little bit, because it's like the Universal kind of put them in a tough spot where it's like,
Mhm.
you're going to offer all of this stuff for free, but then not provide us the capability of being able to do it faster. Because you really had to kind of choose, I think, at some points where it's like, do I want to try one of these food booths, or do I want to go try to get in line for a house? Because it's like, it's not like I can wait 5 minutes or some food, check out a couple food items, and then run over and do two houses. It was like, do I do this house, or do I go wait for food? Because I'm not going to do both.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of did a divide and conquer kind of thing with the two Terrifier booths, or the the Terrifier, the Wyatt, the Fallout, and that was our only food break, because we were trying to, at least in my mind, prioritize houses. And my idea was like, oh, we'll do houses, we'll get some food, whatever. We'll have
Right.
time to do all this and that. We had one food break, and we still weren't able to complete everything. Now, obviously, we got a little bit of a later start, but I didn't even think that would be, I thought that would be a non-factor to the rest of the night. So yeah, so that was that. But I guess we can kind of roll into opening weekend, unless we had any other thoughts on Premium Scream. But I think we kind of hit a lot of the key points from at least our experience from it.
I mean, and we don't want to. I mean, again, we should end it, but like, we're obviously not trying to dog, the theme park.
Yeah.
Obviously, we love HHN. It's not like this is going to affect how we feel about the event as a whole. I just think that, like a lot of people, I'm not sure how much value is in doing that specific night again. I don't know if
Yeah,
you'll have.
no.
I don't know if I would spend the money on it, unless you can promise me, like you said, adding another night where we can kind of split the number of tickets sold, or just reduce the number of tickets sold.
Mhm.
I don't have a lot of hope in that, because at the end of the day, Universal is a business and they're going to do things that make them money.
Yep.
So, we might all be complaining, but if they know that they can sell 7,000 tickets for that every year,
They're going to.
they're going to do it. So
Yeah.
there's only so much we can really complain about, because
Yeah.
nothing's
Yep.
going to change.
Yeah. One thing that we don't have to complain about, but if I was in that group to complain about it, I would. I'm not a huge fan of how they increased prices based off of how much tickets were still available.
Yeah.
We got it off the rip, so we got them thankfully at the cheapest level. But that's kind of a not great approach either, because now what if you were in that last price hike group and you're paying much more for the same experience we've got, which we're saying I wasn't fulfilled with the night. But if I had paid an extra $50 higher, or whatever the ending tier was when it got there, I would have been that much more pissed off.
Right.
But,
I agree. Yeah.
is what it is, I guess. So let's get into opening weekend. I think we should just have these as sort of like open discussions on topics. So, Jamie went to media night for Macabre, so her opening night was a little bit different than Seamus and mine, but we'll just kind of group the weekend as a whole and kind of go
Yeah.
into stuff. So, what about like overall vibe of the event? The quote unquote cohesiveness and the immersion of the event, the songs, the sights, the parts of the park that are utilized. How did we think 34 lived up to the expectations set by the creative, saying that this is going to be essentially a full park immersive event?
I mean, just from the first weekend, I think they nailed it. I really do. I think that maybe outside of a couple small things, I think for the most part, they 100% nailed everything they were aiming for. I think it's better than it's better than it sounded on paper. I think none of the houses have bombed, at least in my opinion so far. I have opinions about a couple of them that may disagree with a lot of people, and that's fine. I don't think they're bad houses necessarily, But at the same time, I don't think anything really is a stinker as of right now.
Yeah.
Like nothing is like, man, that fell flat. Like everything, you're like, well, what they were going for, they set out and they nailed it tenfold. So I'm of the opinion as of right now, I know it's early, but I'm of the opinion that this could end up being one of the better years they've had in a very long time, if ever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I could easily say that this year is already shaping up to be a really great year for me, especially with the IPs we have and everything. And after doing all the houses, I can just say that I was not disappointed and my expectations were met. And I'm overall very happy with all the different theming and the uniqueness of all the different houses. And like you said, Seamus, kind of, there's just not really a bad house, it seems like this year. I feel like every house just kind
Yeah.
of like has its own thing. And as for the immersiveness of the event goes, I definitely think they nailed it too. I don't want to kind of go off everything you're saying, but even just implementing that Origins of Horror scare zone and having that scare zone back in the Little Minion area really made a big difference, kind of connecting everything together. Same goes with, even though Nick and Seamus aren't the big fans of him, but the clown chainsaw horde in Simpsons, it's nice to have that back over there too, because I feel like that area was kind of left a little empty as well. And I really do like the whole conservatory theme that they have going throughout the park and the different scare zones. I feel like before, when they try to blend Oddfellow into all the different scare zones or kind of incorporate those icons in them, it was kind of hard to read, but I feel like since this is more blatant and structurally, it's easier to execute. And I just really happy with how this year's already going in. We're just the first weekend.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. There is no dead space this year. There's there's pockets of breathing room, but there's no like massive gap in experience or in something to see and or do. From the moment you walk in, whatever direction you decide to take, there is going to be something for you to see and experience. So I think they did a really good job of meeting that expectation, and they laid that out immediately. They said, you're going to feel. They used the word immersed. I don't know if I'd use the word immersive so much, but they definitely, when you first walk in, like everywhere you turn, there's going to be something there, to get you or, to suck you in based on, whichever scare zone you're trying to experience or house you're trying to experience or street experience you're trying to experience. So I think that they, again, without sounding like a broken record, they've definitely hit every mark so far that they've gone for.
Yeah, I agree. The dead zones, like you have to search them out. They are hard to find right now. I think the only spot, like if you do kind of want to decompress, would sort of be where the tribute store usually is, in that like where the Jimmy Fallon exit houses used to be. That little corner is really the only like dead spot. But
Men in Black, if you go like kind of where Men in Black is, like between the show and that house back there, Dolls, I think there's kind of a little bit of a lull or a dead area there. But it's I wouldn't even call it a dead area. It's more just like a quiet spot. It's not like last year where Simpsons was kind of just that whole side from
nothing,
from the houses to the scare zone in Central Park. Like there was nothing. Now, at least with the chainsaws, as much as I hate them, there at least is something there. And I got to give these chainsaw actors credit because they're a lot more entertaining than previous
say, they're really
chainsaws. Before it was just like they would walk up and be like do their thing, but these guys are these individuals are very bubbly, and they play off of other scare actors and other park guests. They're really, really good at what they do, and it really kind of brings you in and makes me hate the chainsaws a little less. I'll give you that.
Yep. Sometimes they're not even pulling. Like sometimes they will literally run up and make chainsaw noises. Like they won't even pull it. Like they are taking on this like goofy clown thing, which I was happily surprised to see them over there because, looking back now at what we have at the event, I'm surprised they didn't announce that also as a street experience. Because how we would have been like, wait, what? We have 4 scare zones, 3 street experiences. Like there's 7 things out in the wild for us to do. Like that's really cool. So I'm surprised they held off, but it was a nice surprise being like, okay, this area is not completely dead. It doesn't, I almost might go and sit at Duff and just grab a beer and watch them like scare people and just kind of be a bystander from that. But
Yeah.
I think from the lighting, the audio, every now and then they have Sergio like popping up over the audio. So like he's an icon. He's
I noticed
the icon.
that
like,
the other night. Mm-hmm.
Or the master of the event or whatever you want to call him, but that's pretty close to today's standards of what an icon.
And I think that's some of the
is.
immersion they talked about was that like he's supposed to kind of tie the whole event together. I think they could have done a little bit of a better job of making that more obvious, because it does feel a little like out of place in some ways, where it's just his voice out of nowhere, but there's really no like explanation as to why is he present at Cat Lady Lane? You know what I mean? Like, because like she has really nothing to do with the conservatory or anything like that. Not to say anything bad about that scare zone. I love that scare zone. But I don't really get the immersion, like where they were going with the immersion thing.
But I guess it's a good spot. We'll jump into the zones and like street experiences while we're talking about how full the event is. But I mean, I know for my expectations were blown away. All of these zones, I can't pick out a favorite still. And it's going to be a tough task at the end to kind of rank out stuff or what have you. But having Oranges of Horror up there, up front, almost feeling like two like zones, like a mini zone, because up front you have like the crow and the chainsaws. And not to say that there's a gap, but like you have them there with the truss and the fire that shoots off the building. And then in the minions area, you have like the statues with two little characters in there and the big center stage thing. So it feels they're close enough in the same world where you can view them together, but I almost view it as like two separate little things, which is nice because it does extend all the way through. We have characters back out there. It's fun props. It makes sense to the event. I'm in on that.
Yeah.
New York, I've already had such amazing interactions with the characters, just walking around talking. Masquerade is the beautiful, elegant zone we thought it would be. The costume design is stuff that I didn't really think of, putting the stained glass on some of these wings. Cat Lady is what we thought it was. Plus that they got like a little show sequence, which is fun. All the characters seem to be like they're having a good time. Mel's Dying, a breath of fresh air for a little mini zone. Again, I was thinking, and we debated, is it going to be a show? Is it like set times? No, they're just out scooting around and like offering up limbs on trays the entire night. It's another zone. It's a small zone, but it's another zone. I would say it's the same size as when they had Killer Clowns as a scare zone over in San Francisco area. Club Horror, I haven't spent too much time in there, but there's some beer offerings over there. It looks like they added some tables and chairs. I am on board with that. But yeah, what do we think about the zones and the street experiences?
Nothing's really kind of been amiss. I think Club Horror is, it's either take it or leave it for some people. I don't think that it's going to be for everyone, because it is it's not quite as much of a club as setting. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, I don't dislike it. It's just, it doesn't like, I don't really have any desire to go stand in there. Because I mean, outside of like, DJ Skeletor and his or her three dancing, I don't even know what they're dressed as
or whatever.
They're ladies. Which again, look, they're getting it. Like they are definitely dancing. That is for sure. It's just not something that I'm like, yeah, I need to go spend a ton of time in there. I wish there was a little bit more going on. Like, I keep using this as the example, but when they had Rob Zombie in that area a few years ago, like that felt like a party. Like that felt like a real, like, even though it's Rob Zombie, like it still felt like a club, it felt like being in a club, I guess is my point. I don't know how to explain it. So like it felt a little more, upbeat or more going on. This one, it just kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not a big I'm not a big electronic music guy. Like I don't go to EDM, so like maybe that's what it is. but
Yeah.
I'm not super wild on it. But the other the other three natural scare zones are all incredible in their own ways. It's about time we had something up front with minions. I think we've gone way too long without something being there. And even if there's not a ton of scare actors in it, it's still a very vibrant zone to walk around in. But I have to give props to those scare actors because they're really good and they do the whole like pretending to be a statue and then coming out at you and getting people that way. The gargoyles are really cool, and the still walking birds are some of the prettiest still walking costumes I've seen in a very long time. So
with their giant ass feet.
Yeah,
They're
and
so
their
fun.
giant, their big ass feet. But I do really 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 enjoy that. And then obviously the other two, you kind of. I think as of right now, Masquerade's my favorite. I think it's a really pretty zone. I think I love how they manipulate light. I love the chandelier set piece, like right in the middle of the scare zone. I think all of the costumes in that area are incredible. Like you said, the stained glass, like the stilt walker lady with the stained glass, I think is incredible. I think and for the most part, New York is okay. They flood that zone with actors, which is good. And it's a little easier to differentiate who the scare actors are and who are just normal guests. Unlike the vamp one, which was very hard to find, like very hard to differentiate the two until he like got right up on you, which I guess in some ways is good because it's effective at scaring people. But I like to just enjoy the ambiance of a zone. I like to see the scare actors, interact with the scare actors. So that zone does a pretty good job with that. I do think it does feel a little empty, at least maybe empty of devoid of set pieces, which, I guess depending on who you are, that may or may not really matter much to you. But I think with a zone that big, you need to fill it with a lot of set pieces, like last year where with Torture Fair it worked so well because they had so many things that you could stop and look at. This one is a little bit less, but regardless, I still think they did a pretty good job with it. And then obviously Cat Lady is just incredible. Like that scare zone is so good. The costumes are great, she's great, the little performances they do are great. Yeah, I have no complaints from me on that side of it.
Jamie, what do you think?
Overall, I'm loving the scare zones this year. I feel like we really haven't gotten to spend as much time hanging out with them as I usually like to right away, just because we've been trying to get all the houses done and doing a couple runs so we can review them for you all and go over everything. But I feel like each and every one of them has their own kind of thing with it. I feel like Masquerade, I feel like it really... Sometimes with the scare zones, it's hard to feel immersed in them. It feels like you're just walking in and walking out. I feel like when you're in each one of them, it kind of brings you in. In Masquerade, I really like, Seamus, you kind of mentioned the lighting. I feel like the lighting looks really dimmed and kind of foggy and reflects so nice off that big chandelier in the middle that it kind of lights up that whole strip there. And just the amount of scare actors that they have in that zone as well. When I was leaving early from Premium Scream the other night, they had a bunch of scare actors just walking around, and the vampire makeup that they did, I really like that they went with like that classic vampire makeup with like the pushed up nose and like them actually turning into like the vampire bats more than just like the Dracula vampire with the fangs. I thought that was really fun. The costumes and the dresses that they have, all the different like bright like floral and like pastel colors and stuff like that. Everything just looks so amazing. And then with the Toxic 20 zone, I feel like they really kind of made that one where they have the rat-a-tap at the end now. I feel like they kind of blocked in that zone a little bit more so it doesn't feel like it kind of empties out at the end. And I really, really like, it's probably my new favorite spot right now, in Sting Alley, they have the Black Cat Lounge. It's nice that they only have the one bar there because when they had a quiet place there before, they had a bar, another pickup bar, the food booth at the back, and I feel like it really kind of took away from that. They have a bunch of, well, not a bunch, I would say, but they have a couple light-up tables back there, a couple little spots you could sit down, really nice. And I feel like that 20s vibe is just really there. The characters seem like they're having a lot of fun, like the newsboard that they have going around, and just all the different actors have been doing really, really well. And then, obviously, Cat Lady of Crooked Lane, I think, has got to be my favorite. That one just encapsulate the classic Halloween vibes that I know all three of us really, really enjoy. I also think it's very fun. I know we mentioned the show aspect too, but as you're walking through the scare zone, you see the beginning where you have the regular trick-or-treaters. In the middle, you have the trick-or-treaters that are getting turned into the cats. And then at the end of the scare zone, you have the full-on cat trick-or-treaters now. And I just think it's really fun how it kind of tells that story as you're going through it to go along with the different storybook paneling that they have hanging up too.
Yeah. Yep. Another thing we haven't talked about was the roaming Art the Clown. Haven't really seen. I've seen him a couple times from afar.
The hottest commodity right now.
Yeah, but
yeah, we
he is
haven't really
being.
gotten to interact with
No.
him.
He was in
No,
Finnegan's
he's-
that one night. That was fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've seen him in line, like kind of across the way, but
Oh, yep.
I feel like it's tougher and tougher to get these one-on-one interactions now because as soon as he's spotted, there's the swarm of people, trying to get their next, video or
Yeah.
whatever, which is, kind of to be expected. But I have some thoughts on. I would love to see Art the Clown used in like different ways where he's protected but still showing up randomly.
Mhm.
Like I'd love to see him just like pop up in like Grave of Flesh. Like, just throw him in like a random scare acting role for like 5 minutes. And you're like, whoa, wait, what the fuck? Why is he here? Like, literally everywhere. Like, put him behind the bar at Finnegan's. Like, let him serve you a beer or something like that. Like, just something so outrageous. Like, put him in spots where, and, you're putting him in protective spots. So it's not like people can go behind and swarm or whatever.
Yeah,
But
you're buying something at the tribute store, and he happens to be the guy ringing you out at the tribute
cashier,
store.
yeah,
Like, that would be
exactly,
cool. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that. I think
Just something
just
like
having
random.
him roaming around the park part does kind of defeat the purpose. It defeats what it's supposed to be, where he's supposed to be random, and you kind of just run into him. Where when he is out there, like you said, it's like there's a bunch of groupies that follow him around, and that's fine. I get why, but it's gonna get to the point where unfortunately they're gonna have to like limit it and how much he comes out because people just aren't giving him any space to do his thing.
Yeah. I'd let him go on the stage too by Rip Ride Rocket. Like, if there's like a big queue line out there for LRT, so like send him on the stage and just let him ride his little like tricycle bike around a little bit and then just get off the stage from the side. But I don't know. I think there's fun ways that they could, and I'm not sure how operationally they can pull all these off, but I think it's fun. Like even if like he just cuts to the front of the line and just walks through the house with you. Like that would be just a fun, weird little thing. But, I'm sure there's going to be additions and subtractions from this roaming Art the Clown thing because it is a sort of newer-ish thing that they're trying out. So
yeah, and we did see him walking around Terrifier's line the other night, and we were waiting for Terrifier. So he does do that a little bit.
So it'd be funny if they could pull any of those off. But let's get into, now talking about Terrifier, let's get into these houses. So overall thoughts on the houses just as a, 10 house lineup. What are we thinking?
Solid, like incredibly solid, like some of the best houses we've had in a very long time, at least for the years that I've been going, which is not a lot. It's the best year so far.
I mean, my opinion already. I think all the houses have been really, really good, even the ones that I wasn't as excited for.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is one of potentially the strongest lineups I've ever seen, and this is my 10-year anniversary at this point now.
Wow.
Since 25, so that says a lot. I think a fun thing to do maybe at the end of the season, once we kind of wrap up and we get our rankings, a fun thing to do would maybe be compare some of our bottom houses of this year as to where they would stack up previous years, because I think, like Seamus mentioned at one point, even some of the stuff that might be towards the bottom would be probably in the middle to upper middle of the last couple years as well. I think the highs are very high. I think the lows are still mildly high. There's not a giant gap for this season, in my opinion. They kind of, with the IPs, you do get what you get. Fallout's very Fallout-y TV show wise. Terrifier, they didn't pull any punches. They did everything, it seems like. And the length of the house is there. The gore is there. Those big moments are there. You have Five Nights at Freddy's, which is kind of exactly what you wanted and expected. It might not be the scariest, but you are there. You are at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. and that's a feat in itself. And then you have the Wyatt Six, and that is a perfect mesh of IP and original. You definitely feel some of the character scenes, like when you walk through the Huskus, the Mercy, the Abby the Witch rooms. That feels like very original HHN house. And then you have some of the other runs where it's like all the TV monitors of WWE. It's like, okay, it's kind of IP-ish. And then you have Jason, which I feel like people are, I don't want to say sleeping on, but when you have these IPs like Terrifier and Five Nights in WWE, it does seem like it gets pushed to the wayside a little bit. And a lot of these houses, I think Jason, Hatchet, and Grave of Flesh for me improved drastically after my second run. I think my first run on a couple of these where I was kind of like, okay, like I think I might have missed a lot there. The Jason house has what you expect. It is just a bunch of Jasons. Nothing fancy about it. Getting right to the point. It is what it is.
I don't want to like spend any time on this episode disagreeing with you, but I don't think it's slept on at all. I think people won't shut up about it. Like,
really?
Like,
okay.
I think all I've seen over the last couple of days online is that like Jason's the best house. Jason's this. Jason's that. And it's like, as of right now, Jason to me is the weakest house, but that's because I think what we're looking for out of it is a different thing. So like what I'm looking for in a house is not what I'm getting in Jason. What a lot of other people are looking for in a house, they are getting from Jason. So I will never dog on someone for liking something that I don't like. But, as of right now, it's the weakest one for me. But as of, as a whole, everything is incredible. Like everything we've done so far is like so much better than the best house last year or the year before that.
I think with the Jason one, the stuff, and not to speak for you, but I think we look for some similar stuff. If you're going into Jason Universe looking for story and large scale set design or even any semblance of set design, it might not be that house. If you just want scares and Jason, then it might scratch that itch for you. Because that was kind of my first initial thoughts too. That second half of Jason, when you enter what I refer to as like the legacy of Jason, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just one very long hallway. Is it the scares? Yeah, that is scary. I love it if they made it even more pitch black and more foggy. Because if you're gonna like, I don't want to say sell out, but if you're gonna settle on just finishing your house on like a 15-foot straightaway with like intermission black curtains and just pop out scares on left and right, then go like full on dark, can't see it, like make it hit the floor scary versus like I can still kind of see in front of me. Like if you made it pitch black like the beginning of Quiet Place, I think that it would hit a little bit harder and I'd appreciate it a little bit more.
I agree with that.
But yeah, so Jamie, what are some of your highs? What are some things you want to talk about?
Well, Terrifier and Five Nights at Freddy's have absolutely blown me away with every run that I've done through the houses. Just as we've talked about in our previous episodes when we were doing our Guess the House and stuff like that, we almost nailed it on the Five Nights with walking through the pizzeria and having the stage and having the facade. And I know you and Seamus were saying that you're kind of walking in along the chain link fence, and I know you guys were excited about that too.
Yeah.
But just, wow, man, it's been a very long time that I've walked, and this is still speaking about Five Nights, very long time that I've walked into a house where I've genuinely teared up looking at some of the facade and interior design and being like, wow, this looks just crazy. Like you said, Nick, I mean, the Five Nights might not be the scariest house, but just that design, and if you're a fan of the franchise or even of the games with the security room and just every prop that they have placed kind of similar to The Last of Us, where they have everything to a T, almost scene for scene or frame to frame. Even when you're walking through and you look out the room door of the security room and you kind of see Foxy's shadow and the other shadows on the wall and stuff. And then obviously Terrifier, they just grabbed every single kill and iconic scene from all three movies that people wanted to see, including myself. And they were even able to incorporate the big upside down sawing down the middle scene, which I really liked how they did that on the projection screen. This house probably is one of my favorite rooms we've seen in a while too. I wouldn't say Terrifier 3 is my favorite of the franchise, but I do love A Christmas Horror, and I really, really like that portion of the house, especially where you kind of walk through the light maze, is what I want to call it.
Yeah, that little light hallway, like with the
Oh,
Christmas
I
lights.
love
Yeah.
it. Yes, so much fun. I think it's so nice. And even the intestines kind of hanging from the ceiling and wrapped around the Christmas trees and stuff, just so much fun. Um, as for some of the other IPs, Fallout, I know I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do think the house looks very, very cool, especially when you kind of get more into the middle and it has more of the town or the cityscape, I guess you could say. I probably
Philly.
sound dumb. Philly, there we go. I was just going to say, I knew it was some sort of city, but still cool. Jason, the second run that I had, I feel like was better than the first, or the third run that I had, I feel like was better than the first two, only because I just feel like I missed every scare previously. But even the other run that we did get more scares, and it was mainly in that hallway that you mentioned, Nick. But I just feel like it's just a little boring for me. It's a little mundane. I feel like they focused a lot on the new Jason in the Jason universe, which I get. That's the name of the house. No biggie. But I kind of wanted more of that nostalgia of Friday the 13th, and I feel like we kind of got shafted with that at the end, even though you do see maybe one of each different iteration of Jason, and I think it's like Baghead Jason, burnt up Jason without the mask, or whatever he is. Probably haven't even seen that Friday the 13th, but still, overall, it's cool seeing Jason back at the event again, and since it's been quite some time. What am I missing here? Wyatt 6, very impressive. I feel like a lot of people weren't hating on this house, but kind of underestimating it before it came because they didn't see how they would get the wrestling to work if they weren't familiar with the Wyatt 6 or with Bray. But now I'm seeing people's reviews and ratings of houses already for so early on, and a lot of people are saying that this house is scary and it's really good and it very surprised him. And I think it's because you'd said, Nick, some of those rooms are very reminiscent of like HHN original houses mixed with that TV room, which is super sick with all the TVs around you and that really good double scare that you get right in the middle. I don't know. It just leaves me speechless. All these houses this year, really, even the originals too. What was it? Grave of Flesh was my bottom. I thought it was going to be a scare zone the whole time, and it actually surprised me. I love that dirt smell. It felt damp in the house as if you were underground being buried alive, which is kind of what they were going for. There's one specific scene where you kind of walk through early on where if you look up, you could see the gravestone and there's water dripping and kind of the dirt around you. It just cool little details like that I really enjoyed. What else? Dolls, love it. El Artista, beautiful, love it. Classic haunted house, and it's really nice. I feel like those are always very much appreciated. But yeah, kind of not to harp on the same things you guys have said too, but overall these houses have just been killer already, and I know these scare actors have been giving it their all, and just to see them like this, and I can only see how much, I don't want to say improvement, but just how much more better everything gets down the line, just with people being more comfortable in their roles if they're already going this hard, you know?
It's crazy. Jamie talked about all houses except Hatchet and Chains for the most part.
Hatchet and Lame, yeah. Well, I was trying to be speedy here since I don't be scripting anything. Hatchet and Chains was pretty fun too. They had some good scares. I like that they have scare actors kind of in the upper parts of the houses. I feel like we've seen some of those previously, kind of having them hanging over, having an arm coming down, swooping at you over little hallways and stuff like that. But seeing them up in actual bigger set pieces, aiming the gun at the demons and stuff like that, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. I will say for Hatchet and Chains, I do wish, I feel like we needed more Hatchet and Chains in there. I feel like it was mostly demons.
I don't even know who Hatchet and who Chains is.
Well, either way, we need some more of
one has a
either.
hatchet
I
and
know,
the other
that's
one
what I'm
uses
saying.
chains.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I haven't seen anyone with a hatchet or a chain.
Yeah. No, as far as, I feel like that, what we just talked about, we really touched upon a lot of the IPs pretty well. So let's, maybe just brush over the originals again a little bit, because I am surprised at the quality of, I want to say surprised, but usually when you walk into the event, there's, out of the 5 or 6 originals, there's 2 that maybe don't really hit. And then there's like that one top tier one, and then everything kind of floats in the middle. I think you could justifiably tell me why any of these originals is your favorite, and I would be like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
Uh-huh.
I think for me, the weak point is Grave of Flesh still, which is funny because it's not a consensus. Like you talk to some other people and they love this house.
Uh-huh.
I think they love it because of the simplicity of it. It is just a haunted house. Like it is a typical, and this isn't a bad way, but like it is a typical haunted attraction. It's just like underground, dead people, stuff like that. I walked into the house. I saw the big facade. I saw that second room with the grave. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then after that, kind of on Seamus's point of Jason, that's where it kind of fell for me here. I'm looking like for a story or the story. And from everyone that I've heard of, there really isn't. So I think if you go in with the expectation, and there is, oh, it's your funeral, you're going through the afterlife or whatever, but there's no like true story when you're comparing it to something like El Artista, where it's like, okay, he's in this haunted manor because he's an artist. He's trying to seclude himself and paint better. The people are coming out from the paint. They're haunting. There's a lot of layers in that story. This one is just like basic. Like you're just kind of going through the levels of death or whatever, but there are still some very fun set pieces in here, but it does get a little samey for me. I'm confused as to why there's stairs and like upside down stairs in a couple of the rooms towards the end. I didn't understand that because it's not like we're using stairs to like walk deeper into death or come out of death. I don't know. It was just a little weird.
I was only going to say that kind of reminded me of the movie As Above, So Below, when they escape at the end.
Yeah, a little bit.
Coming out from underneath, but they're actually like coming out from above as if it was like leading up. So I think that's kind of like the descent into hell, but the other world is actually like on the other side. So I thought that's kind of, because I do remember that part and I thought it was like, that is odd.
It was a little,
yeah.
It was a little,
kind of
it felt
crypt-like.
out of place.
Yeah.
Almost.
I can see that. Mm-hmm.
But there are some, I mean, that facade entrance is really, really beautiful. And it's big too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's redeeming qualities. It's not by any stretch of the imagination a bad house.
No.
It's just kind of, when you held it in comparison to a lot of these other houses, it does feel like their stories are very fleshed out, no pun intended. And this one is still just kind of almost in the process of figuring itself out. We go to something like Galkin, which like we kind of had an idea of what it was going to be. And I was kind of off. I love what we got, but I was expecting this like wintry, cold base house. And we get this giant like fire centerpiece, like that finale with the crazy animal sounds. It sounds like a elephant mixed with like a dinosaur or something. Like it was just, I was blown away by it. Seamus, this one was one of your higher ones. Were you kind of like caught off by a curveball a little bit? Because we kind of thought it was this like wintry thing.
Yeah, Galkin, I don't want to say it bothered me, but it definitely felt like in the beginning, it seemed like something we'd seen in the past. Like it felt like used again. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It felt a little like houses we've seen before. And did I feel like, was it maybe missing something unique that I was expecting that I didn't get? Maybe a little, but it's grown on me. I think when you get to that Burning Man scene, it completely takes on a life of its own, and it's a very, 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 very cool and effective scare. And I think overall, it's still a really pretty house, but it definitely doesn't necessarily fit what I thought it was going to be. Like you said, I thought it was going to be like a cold house, like it was going to play on your senses a little bit more, and it really doesn't. Which is kind of, it's one of the few downsides of that particular house. But otherwise, I still think it was good, really effective, and I like the scare actors in it as well. A lot of their costumes.
Yeah. Jamie, was Dolls, I know that was high with you. Was it kind of exactly how you imagined it? Was it a little bit off and different? Did it meet sort of the expectations of the opening weekend?
Kind of exactly how I imagined it. honestly. I think it's super fun. My only negative that I would say about it is because everything is so oversized to make you feel smaller, the house is a little bit more spacious in the path that you walk on. So I feel like that kind of makes it look a little bit empty. But
Okay.
I feel like some of the scenes in here are just so much fun where you walk in through the easy bake oven and they have the gack on the corner that you could push it and it turns the oven on and the fog starts coming in and just the different doll costumes and you could see Lila peeking in through the window on the projection that they have. Just an overall fun house with very cool little details if you pay attention.
Yeah, and the smell. I haven't narrowed it down yet what it is, but it's like
It's
plasticky bubble gum.
It's oh my god, it's like a plastic, like, Cabbage Patch Doll something, but I absolutely love it. It
And you
smells
can smell it.
like yeah, it smells like, when they had the Chucky candle, but a better smell, and it was like that weird
Okay.
plasticky smell.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I was very happy with dolls. It's very much like Sid from Toy Story. It's kind of like Midway Mania at Hollywood Studios, where everything's gigantic
Yeah.
size and you're shrunken down. The attempt at what they were trying was of putting us doll size did play out for me. It did feel like I was smaller than I was, and that's a tall task to have, especially in a older sprung tent where it's not necessarily the most height available to you. And I thought that they did it very well. So, Hatchet and Chains, I was very happy with. I think I had a much better run the second time around. There's a lot of this one felt like the most twist and turny style house. I felt like we were kind of always just going in a random direction. So it does throw you off. We got a lot of those big moments. Like we got a little bank scene. We got the outdoor shootout. We have that little hallway, which has like a bunch of little bullet holes in it, and the smoke pops out of the little bullet holes, which was a really fun addition. The little scare that I keep wanting to get, but I haven't gotten yet, was like the demon that comes out of the chimney and Chains is on the back end of it, pulling him back out and pushing him. I just see him there. I haven't got it to pop out yet at me, so I'm waiting for that one. Having a scare actor out on the outside facade is a nice touch. We haven't seen that in a while, I don't think. But yeah, Seamus, did you similar thoughts on Hatchet and Chains?
Yeah,
Me
I
and you
like
were both
Hatchet
a
and
little bit
Chains. I
higher on
think
it.
it's kind. I don't say it's exactly what I expected, but it's definitely a much needed theme that we don't get too often. I think we've said before. I think we need to see more Western themed horror, more things in that realm. And I'm not saying do it every year, but every once in a while do something that's more like American Western. And I think this is kind of filling that void a little bit. I do feel like it's. I think maybe our friend Duff mentioned it. I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but like it's a little too neon. Like it's too bright, where you would expect it to kind of be more of like a fire and brimstone, because it's supposed to be like demons and
the lava demons
and hell and everything else, and it feels a little like it pops a little bit color wise, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having color on a house, but it's a little it fits the theme weird. That's all. It fits the story weird.
Yeah, I can see that, because I had that expectation as well for the quote unquote bad guys, was like these like just red, burning red and orange color versus that neon-y style face paint.
Right.
And then I think the last original that we could really spend time on is El Artista. I mean, like, wow. I walked in. That was the last house that I accomplished out of the 10. And as soon as I walked in on the facade, I was just like, okay, this is my favorite. Like, it's just, I already know. I don't need to know more, but I do. But it has length. It has twists and turns. They weren't lying when they said they took what they learned of 33 years of Halloween Horror Nights and put it into one house. There was just multiple techniques of scare. And we have the flying gargoyle. We have people dressed up as trees and shrubbery. We have people behind paintings. We have Sergio himself. We have these, Pepper's Ghost or whatever they call it.
Yeah, a couple of times.
The screens.
Yep.
They really did accomplish what they said. And it's so classical.
Yeah, and it has,
which is
I mean,
nice.
it's got Dylan's hands all over it. You walk in, and again, we said it before going into it, you just knew that like there were going to be so many things about it that just have his imprint and have his inspiration in there. I mean, I know that every set director, every creative director, they all have their own spin, their own flavor on things. But he just has there's just a unique vision that he has in a lot of his houses, and this one's no different than anything he's done in the past. So I still have to kind of give it to him and be like, I walk into that place, and like you said, just from the moment you walk through that facade, you're like, all right, yep, this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly where I thought it would go. And it's going to be kind of hard for other things to top it for me as of
we
right
have
now.
a functioning water fountain in the middle of a house.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Like insane. And then even in that scene, I know you're generally so fixated on the water fountain, but like look up because
Yeah.
it is a tall room with
Yeah.
like greenery coming out from like a second story of the house. And I obviously I had this as my number one, so I wasn't concerned about what Dylan was going to do with this house, but I was very curious because all of the past houses of his have really been community or exterior based. Blood Moon, Goblins, Dead Man's were all multiple like outdoorsy village sense kind of thing. I was very curious how he was going to attack essentially a fully interior based house, because this is all taking place in the manor. So I was like, okay, how are we going to still have that scope of feeling this extravagant up and down, left and right design? And they pulled it off by using very unique rooms. You have like the little paper room. You have that, like we said, the entrance. You have that little break with the fountain as the little like greenery area
In the courtyard.
The courtyard. It was definitely, while still being an interior house, didn't feel too closed in.
No, he has an uncanny ability to make you feel scale, which I don't think many other designers do. I think he just has the ability to make you, it feels like you're going into a manor, you're going out into an outdoor courtyard, you're going back into the manor, into the conservatory. It feels like he has just an eye for space and an eye for setting. And that's really what I'm looking for in houses is, you're not going to get me like I'm not going to be scared. Like, I'm not going to be like, the whole time. But like, what I'm looking for is how immersive, to use that term that they wanted to use, how immersive is your house? Does it feel like I'm being dragged into a different world? And he just has an ability to do that not many others do.
And I feel like the way he plays with like the color palettes in the house too, like Goblins was very greens and browns and yellows, and this one is very deep grays and blues and just gives you kind of that like bleak feel of like Sergio going to madness, and Blood Moon was the bright reds and oranges, and I feel like all that just plays off really well into his designs of the houses too. And I just feel like this would be one of those houses, and I feel like with all of Dylan's houses as well, that this is where you get to appreciate the most is during those unmasking tours, because all the details and different things that we don't get to see when we're walking through the houses are shown through those tours and everything. And it's just, I could only imagine seeing this with the lights on and how everything looks.
Yeah, I'm excited to.
No, that's a good point.
We'll get on to the booking of those tours, because we gotta.
Yeah, we gotta figure that out too.
We'll get those.
What I'm not
I mean,
right
I think the fact that you're bringing the color palette up, Jamie, is actually incredibly important when it comes to something that he does. Because you're right, where obviously Pier was very blue and icy, and it felt like it was cold. Like you felt like you were in like a seaside winter community because it was the color and the feeling of those various senses that they were playing with. With Blood Moon, you got the colors of the fall season, the changing of, things changing, things progressing in time, and that kind of brings that in. This one, a lot of the deep blues, the deep, it gives you the feeling of I don't want to say depression, but it definitely like melancholy. Like you're supposed
Yeah,
to feel
melancholy is a
melancholic
great word for it. Yes.
because of what his main character is going through. And then of course Goblins is bright and more of a party vibe because that's what they were going for. So he's really good at being able to pick those different things, and not only that, but pick his set design team. Exactly
for sure.
what they know what he needs to finish off what the house and what he's going for, and the way they work together is just, again, I've done it before. The chef's kiss, like it's just it's perfect almost. It's very few things are close to perfection, but but one of his houses. So Dylan, if you ever happen to hear us, we are the biggest fanboy and girls of you. So
we would
love to talk
interview
to you.
Yeah, I don't think HHN's going to let us interview anybody.
No, I don't think so
Maybe
either.
not.
But you never know.
The door's always open.
I'm gonna put it out there anyways because he is, he's just an inspiration for me, and I'm not a very artistic person. So
yeah. All righty. Well, I think that's about as good of a spot as any. Just kind of capping off our overall thoughts of the opening reactions of the weekend. Obviously, we got to accomplish a lot. I think maybe on the next couple episodes, we can dive maybe a little bit more in depth once we get the full scope of it, talk maybe about the food and the drinks a little bit more. But I think just as overall weekend reactions, you can see and hear just how much we are in love with this event already. So yeah, any other closing thoughts before we jump on out of here and get back to week 2 of HHN?
I was going to say, already looking forward to the rest of it.
No, I can't wait. Going tomorrow night. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, we will be there in the fog. And again,
yes.
Thank you to everybody that has stopped us and said hello.
We should mention that. Like it's
insane.
This
year
is the most anyone has ever stopped us.
This year has felt like there's been a massive, like a drastic jump in the amount of people that like recognize this but are willing to be like, hey, I love your stuff. Like I feel like in the last couple of years it's gotten it, there have been times where you're like, oh man, like people actually recognize this. But this year, I mean, I kind of feel like a mini celebrity when I go to the place because there's so many people that just like recognize who we are. It's like, are you Fear Beer? Yeah. Oh, I love your podcast. Oh, it's so good. I'm like, that's weird.
Makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah, I feel good, but at the same time, I feel so like almost like imposter syndrome, just a little bit, because I feel like I'm just a guy. Like I'm just a dude.
Yep.
Like I don't consider myself anything more than that. So when people are like, I really love what you guys do, like it touches me in my heart because I feel like I'm actually like doing something. That people like that. Obviously we're not like saving lives. We're not doctors. So there's a lot more important people in this world than the three of us. But if I can touch somebody just with, allowing them to have something to turn to listen to feel like they're part of something, I'm very grateful for anyone that listens to us and has the desire to want to meet us. Like that's just, I don't know, it's crazy to me.
Yeah. Jamie, any thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry, I zoned out for a minute. That was such a nice that was such a nice sentiment, Seamus. No, I agree though. It is very nice when everyone comes up and says hello to us. Sorry if I'm a little awkward. It's very I don't want to say odd for me too, but it is kind of weird. It's just nice that you guys appreciate.
You really don't. Like when they come over to talk, you're very natural. Like I'm the one that I feel awkward because I'm sitting there going, oh.
No, I
yeah.
No, but it does make us very happy, and it does make me, as well as you said, Seamus, too, feel like I'm doing something with my life, and this is just something we enjoy doing. We don't get paid for doing this.
Yeah, no, we don't.
If that was the case, that'd be freaking sick, but we just like doing it. So we're glad you guys like it.
Yeah, it has definitely been a large growth in the last year or so, I'd say. So it's just rewarding, and it does, like Seamus and Jamie had said, it's a payoff that we don't ask for, but it's nice to see what we do, whether it's full episodes or stupid reels about pooping and shitting your pants. that payoff to people to make you, if I can make you laugh a little bit, then that's all I really want to do. Like
really,
everyone
yeah,
said,
I mean,
this
that's
is
at the end of
just
the
a
day.
fun
That's
thing.
for me. That's all that matters is that people care enough about it to listen to it. Like it still blows my mind. Like I don't think
And
that what I have to say is any more different than what anyone else has to say. I just maybe I'm more willing to put it out there on the internet and let people form their own opinions about what I think. So, but yeah, the fact that you like recognize me in, even if we're not in like Universal, and if I'm at like Disney World with my family and people recognize me, like that's wild. Like it still blows me away. Or when I go to a concert in Tampa and someone like recognize, like happens to stop and talk to me about it, like that's I don't know,
yeah, we had
CMB worldwide.
just
we
wild.
did a little like photo-y meetup kind of deal, and I believe Kale brought us this hand
yes,
crocheted
you should shout that
Art
out
the
because that was
Clown.
incredible.
Hold on.
which it's on
Crazy.
our
I mean,
Terrifier shelf.
incredible work. But we
And
should
it's
say,
just
like, if you see us and don't be afraid to say hi. Like we are,
Yeah.
I try my best to like be approachable. Like I'm no different than you. I'm just there having fun. I'm not there.
So cute.
He is adorable.
a one of a one. That's really,
I can't believe
it's amazing.
Nick
The
showed me
craftsmanship
this, and I was
It's just
like,
insane. And then Sarah, who did little customed boots and daisies,
I know.
little
Shout out to
watercolor
them as
pictures.
As
well.
Art and Jason.
So
cute.
so friggin' adorable.
Shout out to all the beads that the bracelets people make us. Like I'm
Yeah.
running out of room in my
Yeah.
arm for my bracelets.
Yeah, I got to switch them out at this point. I got to
Yeah.
kind of keep it rotating going, but it really does mean a lot. Like not even just saying, even just saying hi, not to make everybody start learning how to crochet so you can make us stuff, but
No, please don't,
just saying
please don't
hi
give us free
is like
stuff. I don't
Yeah.
I don't do this for the free stuff.
No. But it does show that we've built a really good community of very like-minded people, and we like to keep it fun and positive, and just know we are always open to chit chat. It might be a little bit harder, might have to catch us on the go a little bit more because we do still want to accomplish some stuff, but I have no problem stopping and chatting.
Yeah.
I was balls deep in a mozzarella stick, and people found me in my happy spot, which is eating food over the
You should
trash
say
can.
the cheese stick was deep in you, but that's besides the
Yeah.
point.
Oh yeah. The jumbo or the corn dog is freakishly long.
Yeah.
The mozzarella stick is also fairly long, but that is usually one of my go-to
Yeah.
shame spots, and I will always find people while I'm in my shame spot. Unfortunately,
We need to shout out the very busy bee as well because
Angel taking up
is
the best pictures of us.
Angel's the best. Those pictures came out incredible. So if you're listening, Angel, which I know you are, thank you very much.
Thank
You make
you.
me look so much better than I normally do. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy that we did that. So that was really cool. And then
Yeah.
we should mention, just a reminder, Saturday, if you're in the
Oh,
area,
yeah.
come to Ocoee, Toll Road Brewing. They did a New England IPA, and they did it in partnership with us. So our name is on it. They did all the work. We just showed up and acted like a bunch of assholes, and now we're gonna drink it on Saturday. So if you want to come enjoy it with us and meet us and say hi and just bullshit about Horror Nights or
we will be
anything,
there.
football,
We'll be there.
whatever it is you want to talk about, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll probably roll up there around 12 or so. I think the beer taps around
They will
1.
be tapping it at 1. Yep.
And we do have a concert that night, so we won't be there too long, but we will be there enough to obviously hang out and chit chat and all that stuff. So I do hope we get to see a handful, if not a few of you, or who knows who's going to show up. But I'm excited either way. This
And
is
plus,
a big moment for us.
We're the beer guys, so we never steer you wrong when it comes to beer. So even if, the Toll Road, they're great people, some really, really great people. So you should definitely check them out, support them, buy some beer from them, and just have a good time.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good spot as any to tune on out of here for this week. We will be back next week with something related to HHN. We'll figure it out as we go. Until next time, this is Nick.
This is Seamus.
And this is Jamie and Boots.
Happy haunts. Thank you for listening to another episode of Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on whatever streaming platform you are listening to us on. You can find us on all of our socials at Fear and Beer Pod.